The Queensland Government has confirmed it will likely raid public servants' superannuation in a bid to pay for a growing infrastructure backlog.
It will only target a scheme with less than 10% of QSuper's total members, and Treasurer Curtis Pitt insists their entitlements won't be affected. Tegan George has the details.
3 weeks out from Budget Day, Treasurer Curtis Pitt has confirmed plans to dip into public servants' superannuation to pay for much-needed infrastructure.
If all of the 49,000 members of the defined benefit scheme decided at 9 a.m. tomorrow to leave the government and cash in, the scheme would still be in surplus after every single entitlement was paid.
His last budget stopped government contributions to the fund for 5 years, the $2 billion going towards paying down the state's $74 billion debt, but cash is needed for new projects, and the defined benefit scheme has an $11 billion surplus.
They never saw someone else's money they couldn't get their hands on and waste again.
The member for Clayfield never saw a public servant he didn't want to sack.
Ruling out asset sales has left Labor with little room to move. The former Newman government's privatisation plan would have raked in $34 billion.
We have had to make tough decisions here because we need people in jobs, Mr. Speaker. And why do we need people in jobs? Because they sacked 14,000.
We think no stone should be unturned in trying to ensure that we can find a job strategy. Whether this is an appropriate one will depend on the size and scale and nature of it.
The Premier says this budget will focus on creating jobs for regional and rural Queensland, where youth unemployment is as high as 31%. Statewide, it's 15%, with new figures out later this week.
What do they say? You've never had it so good. Never had it so good. Well, tell those people out there in Queensland who are unemployed.
The budget will be handed down on June 14. Tegan George, 10 Eyewitness News.